Game.
A Cromwell media station.
All the big topics.
That's what people want to know about.
Mixed with some entertainment.
So funny.
It's not funny.
Give it a minute.
This is Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
We got a great show for you, and even if we don't, who cares?
Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome in 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It is Chase and Michelle, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic, the reporter Nick Keyser, who just had a tremendous report for us here on the program. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Michelle, how we doing?
How are you doing?
I'm good. I got good sleep. I woke up happy, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And guess what? The Titans have an offensive coordinator.
Finally.
And I have been looking forward to this show since they announced it because, obviously Jared and Caroline was actually on when the news broke. And so we had that. And I've been going back and forth in my head and listening to other people. But we'll start there. Tim Kelly officially named the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. He is elevated from passing game coordinator, which is what he was when he joined the team last year. Mike Vrabel also made a ton of position coaching changes yesterday. But the other thing that stood out to me is Charles London, who had been with the Falcons. He and Vrabel had coached together in Houston. He's brought in as the pass game coordinator and the quarterback's coach. Now, I know D-Mase – I can't wait to hear D-Mase and what he thinks about them bringing in Charles London as the quarterback coach because he's been pretty hard on Pat O'Hara in that role and developing quarterbacks along the way. I find that to be an interesting move that Charles London will take over as QB coach and the pass game coordinator. Even though we don't exactly know what the pass game coordinator did because Vrabel won't tell us, but that's okay. Chris Harris officially named the defensive pass game coordinator and cornerbacks coach. No, not the Channel 4 Chris Harris, a different one. But he comes in. Hey, Chris, what's up? He comes in. Lori Locus, she tweeted it out, defensive quality control coach, so she will join the staff, the first full-time female member of the coaching staff in Titans history. Justin Hamilton comes in as a defensive quality control coach. And then the position changes. Tony Dews, who had been the running backs coach, now the tight end coach. Jason Hoteling is now the offensive line coach. He was the assistant offensive line coach. Pat O'Hara becomes the passing game analyst, and Luke Steckel becomes the run game analyst. Now, I don't know exactly what all that means, the analysts, if that's a demotion, if that's just a changing of title, what that is, but they're still on the staff, and they're still looking for a running backs coach. So those are the moves that Mike Vrabel made yesterday. Before we kind of give our thoughts on Tim Kelly, here was Mike Vrabel's explanation on the search for an offensive coordinator and why Tim Kelly turned out to be the right move.
Okay, Mike, if you could maybe speak specifically about the search at offensive coordinator and why Tim Kelly ended up ultimately being the right person for the job.
Yeah, I think it's the right fit for us at this time. It's the perfect fit. Met with some really, really good candidates. One that we were able to bring on here in our staff to help assist and support Tim and our offense and coach our quarterbacks and our passing game coordinator. But I think what Tim ultimately was able to do was be able to provide some familiarity and some carryover to what we were doing, because I don't think everything's broken. I don't believe that. But then also be able to, add some things that, can really help us and take advantage of some opportunities. I've seen him, call games in this league against us. Felt like he has a great feel for the game. Going back to even last year, playing with a rookie quarterback and not having much success against us at their place, being able to shift gears and get into empty almost exclusively and, give them a chance to get back in that football game. And, we were able to win. But, I think his feel, his energy, his leadership, all things that came out throughout this process of multiple meetings with him and other candidates.
That's Mike Vrabel yesterday on the hiring of Tim Kelly. And by the way, two things besides the obvious stood out to me in that. One, Vrabel's a candle guy, and I respect that because he had candles behind him in his office. So I'm on board with that because I'm all about some candles. And two, I loved how much he hated the Zoom and how he kept taking little shots at Robbie Bourne of we should have done this in person. That was hilarious.
I know. I've heard the Zoom stories from Joe and everybody when you all were here during the heat of COVID, which I missed. But, one thing I take from that, I think one of the biggest takeaways of Vrabel describing Tim Kelly is describing one of the intangibles and just having a feel for this game.
Yeah.
But I will say, I was at an event yesterday, and then all of a sudden I pulled out my phone, and when I saw the news, I was like,
yeah. Why did it take this long?
really?
Yeah.
Because, in the beginning, I told you, I said I could see them hiring a GM outside, but I feel very confident. Like you and I was like, I feel very confident that it's going to be Tim Kelly because I explained, he wanted to interview him, but Houston blocked it a couple years ago. And then he brings him on his staff. He's the passing game coordinator, which, when we watched him practice, he was with the tight ends, but who knows exactly what his specific role was. And then I totally jumped on the Matt Nagy train. Hasselbeck seemed very confident. They hadn't hired anybody. This is the week of the Super Bowl. I doubted anything would be done this week.
Yeah, I had allowed myself to think that they were going to go hire Matt Nagy. I had allowed myself to think that. And even though yesterday when it came out, my reaction was, okay, not that surprised. Now, I think what's hilarious is the segment of Titans fans that in the middle of the season wanted Tim Kelly to be the offensive coordinator. Now they're like disappointed because it's like, oh, here he goes bringing in one of his buddies again. What did you wanted this 3 months ago? So what's changed?
I think they wanted it 3 months ago because he's already there, and they're like, okay, this obviously isn't working. Let's just try to switch something around when, Vrabel preaches, like, anything that's, like, a distraction or something like that would, I feel like, classify as a distraction. Changing your coordinator is different than, right, a backup quarterback getting the starting job. But I think fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, tell us your thoughts, call, text us, 615-737-1025, that they wanted a change in the moment. They wanted something to change because they were on the 7-game losing streak. But then I think their hopes got up when they heard, Vrabel saying, we've casted a wide net. We want to find the best person for this job. Names like Matt Nagy, Eric Bieniemy were thrown around, and people got excited, right? They see that Kansas City Chiefs offense. We'd been talking about it for weeks. A new guy coming in, a new face, new ideas, creativity, and then even though they were happy a couple months ago, they would have been like, yes, Tim Kelly. But now I think that they see, oh, we could have had somebody else. They're kind of like, eh.
I just laugh. Look, that's fans. Fans are fickle. That's just what it is. And I laugh that, I was watching. I watched the press conference on Twitter, and so you see all the Twitter comments coming in.
Oh yeah.
And I was enthralled with that because there are people that are like, well, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. You should get fired. They were saying
that about Vrabel?
Yeah, and I'm like, the dude just won Coach of the Year. Like, are we really there? Like, and people are saying, is he on the hot seat? I guess in some ways he is. Things got to turn around. A 7-game losing streak is obviously not the direction that they wanted to go, but they've already fired the general manager. They fired the offensive coordinator, fired the offensive line coach. He made changes there. People wanted changes, and he made the changes. Now, obviously, the changes have to work, but you can't blame all the injuries on him. And I'm not excusing Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel obviously shares some blame and stuff, but I'm not ready to fire him. I think he's a pretty damn good coach, so I wouldn't go that far. I just let's see how it plays out. To your point, you made a very key point. They wanted to hire him a year ago or 2 years ago before they hired Todd Downing, and they got blocked. Then he jumps on him because it's like, okay,
Lovie
Todd
Smith comes in.
Yeah,
Texas.
but like Todd didn't look great, and people wanted him out. But from Vrabel's point of view, it wasn't enough to fire him yet, and so it's like, let's bring Tim in just to have him on the staff, and so that made total sense. But then I go back to what you and I have both been saying is, if it was going to be Tim Kelly, why wait? Why not just do it? Now I know Vrabel. Paul Karski made a very good point this morning. Vrabel likes to announce everything all at once. But we're still waiting on a running backs coach, so don't have that yet. I don't know. So it raises a question. It raises a question to me that we will answer coming up next. Was he the plan all along, or did Vrabel get told no? Did Vrabel actually go through this process like he says he did and get told no? We'll take your thoughts on that. Plus, do you like the hire of Tim Kelly and all the coaching moves at 615-737-1025? That's our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Predators forward Philip Forsberg going to join us at the bottom of the hour. It's Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
All right, I've been telling you about Hair Club for a while now. They are the proud sponsor of this show. As I've been talking about them, I needed some help with my hair. It was thinning out, had some power outages, and so I gave Hair Club a call. And no matter what the issue is with you, if you need restoration, regrowth, there's small problems, big problems, whatever, they have the answers, and they're all tailor-made just for you because we're all different and we all go through different things. So all you need to do is go in for a free consultation, and they'll help you out with whatever your hair situation may be. Fill out the form at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase to schedule your free consultation, and they'll give you 10% off anything that you happen to purchase just because I sent you. You can also text Chase, C-H-A-S-E, to 694-247. That's 694-247. It's Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We all have our systems when we bet, from picking the perfect upset to coming through injury reports the night before the game. But there's one thing every bettor should include in their system: the responsible gaming tools available on FanDuel Sportsbook. These tools help keep your play in check and under control. Tools like time limits, so you don't unknowingly spend more time on the app than you intended. Wager limits, to help you prevent from betting more than you should. And you can even take a timeout, which pauses your account for as long as you may need. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be about fun and entertainment. So visit FanDuel.com/playwell and make responsible gaming part of your system. That's FanDuel Sportsbook app, my official sportsbook app. So let's make sure that we're enjoying the games and doing so responsibly. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. If you have a gambling problem, please call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Hey, it's Jared with my friends at Hiller. Kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, Apple iPad, Solo Stove, or Nintendo Switch when you purchase new whole home generators or select new HVAC systems. Or a free 55-inch TV, Nintendo Switch, or Solo Stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of necessary home replacements, so call Hiller. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Benny Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app. Taking you through your mid-morning.
Love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. This is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life.
Where'd you find those crazy characters?
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Mike, can you talk a little bit about, I guess,
the thought of, the hiring Tim in-house versus maybe hiring an offensive coordinator from the outside who might bring in different ideas and a different system?
Well, I'm confident that there will be new ideas, new, concepts. Again, there's a lot of things that you can invest your time with. And, we're fairly certain that, where we've invested a lot of our time is, been in one particular system. I know that'll change in the spring. I think this will be a great time to, figure out, how much you want to invest in some of these other schemes and these ideas. You have every offense and every defense, everybody has to have an identity, which is critical, things that you're going to be able to do and then have plays off of it. So, in my interactions and my meetings with Tim, I'm very comfortable that there'll be, continue to do the things that we do well, the things that we feel like we do well, that we want to continue and enhance, and then, bring in new ideas that he has, that Arthur, or excuse me, that Charles has, or even other guys on our staff.
That's Mike Vrabel yesterday on why he wanted to go out or stay inside the organization as opposed to going outside. Chase and Michelle, 102.5-106.3 The Game. We'll take your calls on Tim Kelly be named the new offensive coordinator for the Titans, 615-737-1025. Do we think that Kelly was the plan all along, or was Vrabel told no? How would you answer that?
It's tough. I think that Tim Kelly was a high candidate on his list because, let's just take away this press conference from yesterday. Just listening to all the comments of the one-on-one interviews between him and Jim Wyatt, the comments he made at Rand Carthon's press conference, he talked about, getting the best person for the job, having a bunch of different scenarios or outcomes. I think that was in the Senior Bowl interview with Jim Wyatt, something along those lines of, having multiple plans, like an A plan, a B plan, and things like that. So I do think that he definitely reached out to other people in the league. Charles London did come in for an interview, and he's going to be on the staff as the passing game coordinator / quarterbacks coach. So that was somebody outside of the program. As far as
he knew him.
Yeah, of course. As far as, Tim Kelly, I did always think that he was a viable candidate, probably, a top candidate. Vrabel knows him. Think about how do people get jobs these days? It's who you know.
It's who you know.
Right? So having that trust, having that relationship prior to the interview process is so important. He knows how he thinks. But I also do think that, so Eric Bieniemy made some comments at the Super Bowl Media Day, and he said that he has not interviewed for any offensive coordinator positions. He's only taken one interview for a head coaching position, and that was with the Indianapolis Colts.
Right.
So he's still waiting. What I take from that is maybe he was told no. Maybe Eric Bieniemy is only taking head coaching position interviews. He took one with the Colts, but he's with the Chiefs right now. He's offensive coordinator. They're going to the Super Bowl this weekend. So as far as Matt Nagy, I'm not sure. But I think it is definitely a possibility that, Eric Bieniemy will get a head coaching job. Matt Nagy will step up as the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. And both of them might have, known that that's a real possibility. And they're like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna take any interviews now.
I don't think that. I'm kind of at the point where I don't think that happens this year. I think everything kind of stays as is with the Chiefs, because I ultimately feel like Irsay is going to go with Jeff Saturday and keep him with the Colts. And then if Bieniemy hasn't interviewed for the Cardinals job, then
I don't even know who has interviewed for that Cardinals job.
Not me, but I think he was told no. I think now I don't know if it was an interview, a true interview, but I think that coaches know each other enough and know enough people. It's like you said, who do you know? That I think he made some calls, and Matt Nagy was probably like, hey, man, I'm just not interested right now. I'm good with what I'm doing. And I think it got to that point. But I do feel like this was decided a while ago. Like, I think that when he stood up there at Rand Carthon's press conference, he probably already knew he was hiring Tim Kelly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, when did those reports come out of him reaching out?
It was around then.
It was around then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is it really told no, or is Matt Nagy just like, I'm not looking for another job?
I mean, you can decipher that however you want to decipher it. I mean,
Right, because I think people can
it's
look
a
at-
rejection.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I don't even want to talk about it.
People can look at that, and I'm sure, I mean, think about how many offensive coordinator positions have been open, right? At one point, there was 12. And I'm sure Matt Nagy had gotten calls from other teams asking to interview for their position. And I know we talked about how this Tennessee Titans roster doesn't look very exciting to come to, right? You don't have a young, electric, young quarterback, and you're a heavy defense team. You don't put up too many points a game. But it's not like they're saying no to here and then going and taking all of these other interviews for offensive coordinator positions. So I think in my head, I don't look at it as much of a, they got rejected. I think of it more as a, they're just staying there. But if they were interviewing for other offensive coordinator positions around the league, because there are quite a bit open right now, and I mean, maybe they still will, right?
Yeah.
I take that more as a, they definitely were not interested in this roster and this organization at all.
So Tim Kelly has been named the offensive coordinator, Charles London the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. What do you think about these moves? 615-737-1025. Let's go to Drew. He wants to weigh in first. Drew, welcome in.
Hi, Drew.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Yep.
I have a question. Directly for Michelle.
Okay.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Yes. You had made mention of that Tim Kelly, as far as him is concerned, he is the offensive coordinator all along. But you did kind of sway because Matt Nagy, I get it. But my question to you, I want to ask you on the numbers. The Titans, what was their rank in passing the past year as Tim Kelly being a passing coordinator?
I think
We'd have to look that up. Thanks for the call, Drew. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I can assume where his question was going is maybe why did he think I was so sure on that Tim Kelly was going to be the offensive coordinator? And I can give you a simple answer for that. I think that because Mike Vrabel wanted to interview him right when he interviewed Todd Downing and hired Todd Downing, the Houston Texans blocked that because he was working for them. And then as soon as a turnover of coaches down with the Texans, Lovie Smith got the job. He brought in his staff. Mike Vrabel was able to get Tim Kelly to come here, created a position for him as passing game coordinator. We don't really know what that was. So as far as, looking at where they ranked in offense for passing, it's kind of tricky because, that was his title as a coach on the staff. But, in practice, we saw him working with a lot of the tight ends. And I don't know if it's really X's and O's. Like, he was the passing game coordinator, so which made him responsible for, all the pass plays, right? It's not black and white like that. I think he was involved in the offense, and we don't know what happened right behind the curtain of this organization. But he was alluding to, where were they in passing offense? Probably towards the bottom of the league. But I don't think you can really – it doesn't mean that Tim Kelly is a bad offensive coordinator just because they didn't have a good passing game last year and he was passing game coordinator. Because we don't actually know what he did.
Well, and it's kind of a long answer, but this was Vrabel yesterday when he was asked about Tim Kelly's former role of passing game coordinator and what exactly that meant.
Thanks. Hey, Mike, can you talk us through a little bit what Tim's role was as passing game coordinator last year? The times we were out there, we saw him during individual, often with the tight ends only. And we'd like to know, I think, a bit more about what he did when we weren't there.
Yeah, I mean, I had asked him to, I don't want him standing there holding a clipboard, charting passes. So, I asked him to focus and assist with the tight ends at practice or an individual, be an extra set of hands. I like everybody that's out there to be working, doing something to help the football team or the players. And then there were, his outside of the time of practice, it was, a lot of preparation in advance. And I think he would come into Todd and be able to meet with me and say, hey, here's what, this is what we can expect. He was able to work ahead. He wasn't focusing on, necessarily calling the game. I think he was helped put together the first and second down passing game and would communicate with Todd, look through the third down, present that, and then ultimately, we go in with a game plan, and then, it has to get executed and it has to, and somebody's got to call it. So, it wasn't like when it was a pass, it was Tim's responsibility. Tim was here to support the offense and to provide, working knowledge of the defense and to be able to help with the first and second down installation, third down, and then worked with Todd as well as myself in the red zone.
Okay, that was Vrabel yesterday. And listening to that answer again, there was just this giant light bulb just went off in my head that I now get it. I mean, it was just he's not going to answer that. He's not going to tell you what he did because he probably doesn't even know what he did and what the title meant. It was just he's there. Vrabel's thinking this probably isn't going to work out with Todd. I want to get my guy Tim. He's going to be the guy. Let's just get him on the staff, and then we'll find something for him to do. That's honestly what that answer felt like.
Yeah, it's definitely overwhelming, and he kind of goes a bunch of different ways, and I'm like trying to follow it, listening to it again. But yeah, I mean, what I take away and what I could maybe pull from that answer is, he wanted him to be involved with the offense. He's doing a lot of similar things that Todd was probably doing other than calling the games. We saw Todd on the sideline. He was the one calling the games, but Tim, I'm sure, had a voice, collaborative, right, and gave his thoughts on it, but didn't have full control. It wasn't his offense. It was Todd's offense at the end of the day. And Vrabel even mentioned later in the press conference that was part of the interview process. Tim was able to see, what went wrong last year and then was able to, say, okay, here are some things. This is what I want to change. This is how going forward I want the offense to look. So he has the background of being in there. He knows a lot of the guys. He knows the quarterback. He knows Ryan Tannehill, which I think Vrabel's comments on that, saying that Ryan Tannehill seemed excited when he told them this is where the offense is going. That, for me, pretty much locks in that Tannehill's going to be your quarterback next year. So. Well,
we'll talk about that.
We will.
I have some thoughts on that. But coming up next, Philip Forsberg, Predators forward, is going to join us. Not the outing they wanted last night, losing 5-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights in their return after the All-Star break. But we'll talk to Philip coming up next. But text the keyword Belmont, that's Belmont, now to the game text line at 615-737-1025 for a chance to win 4 reserved tickets to see the Belmont Bruins men's basketball team take on the UIC Flames in the Missouri Valley Conference action at the Curb Event Center on Saturday, February 11th. That's Belmont. Text that now to 615-737-1025 for your chance to win. Philip Forsberg next, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
White 85! Every team needs a quarterback.
White 85! Take!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We're just days away from the big game. What's up, everybody? Michelle Knezovic here. And listen, only a couple days away. We've got Eagles, Chiefs. Everybody is out in Arizona already. And I've been checking my Superbook Sports app all week to see all the different odds boosts because there is no better place to wager on the football title than Superbook Sports. My official sports book. It should be yours too. I've been using it all football season and continue through the playoffs. I'm so excited, but a little sad that football season is over. And Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business, and you can check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. Listen, I am going to take the Eagles minus the 1.5. I think the Chiefs have the better quarterback and tight end, but if you look at the team as a whole, I do think this Eagles team is going to come out with the title. And with over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas, there's no better place to wager than Superbook Sports. Win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Protect your engine with Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec is designed for today's engines to dissipate heat and reduce friction and wear. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $33.99, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Choose Syntec, available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You could save big when you bundle your home, auto, and other vehicles with Progressive. Now that we've covered something you could do, it's time for sports stuff you definitely could not do.
You could not have turned that double play. If you think you could dive, then spin, then launch a perfect throw 120 feet, you must be forgetting that you get dizzy when you stand up too fast sometimes. If you tried to throw that hard, that would be the last thing you did with your arm before shoulder surgery.
But you definitely could save big when you bundle your home, auto, and other vehicles with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Chase and Michelle podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
I got some good news. Taking you through your mid-morning, this is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Preds fans, tune in tonight for Smashville Live at 6 o'clock from Bridgestone Arena for the Nash Vegas event. Remember, you must have a ticket to Nash Vegas, so you can visit NashvillePredators.com for that. Smashville Live is presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, and Superbook Sports. Back here on Chase and Michelle. Chase McKay, Michelle Knesvik with you. Let's say hello to Philip Forsberg. He is on the line with us, Predators forward. Phil, how you doing?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Oh. Before we get into the actual hockey part of things, I just did the read for Nash Vegas. That's tonight. It's back. This is my favorite event that the Preds Foundation and the team does, because you all get to mix and mingle with the fans and play some blackjack or roulette or what have you on the Bridgestone Arena floor, but it's for a good cause. So how excited are you guys to be able to kind of mix and mingle with the fans again with this event?
No, it'd be great. Like you said, there's been obviously a few years since we were able to do this particular one, and it's one of the easier ones so to do. Like you said, we're all having fun together, and yeah, it'll be a good time for sure tonight.
No doubt about it. So last night I know was not what you all were looking for coming out of the break. How difficult is it being off for 11 days or whatever it was? And even though you had some practice in there, but you break away, you go on vacation. You know, we saw you and your wife having fun on vacation. How hard is it to kind of snap back into it and then get on the ice and play a game?
I mean, of course, it's a little challenge, but at the same time, it's at least the NHL have done a good job now of kind of lining up the team. So, like Vegas had the same break. They came off had basically the same amount of time off. So it's obviously a challenge, but at least the challenge is on the both sides of the puck, so to speak, and. Because they had the same thing. It was a couple of years ago. I remember we came back and we played a team that had their last game before their break, which was a little different back then because obviously those teams are up and running and we've been off for a few days. So, but I mean, like I said, I don't think we can use that as an excuse for what happened last night. We obviously have to be better than that. In regards to whatever happens.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys come out and Duchesne scores in the first period. You were on that play and have a 1-0 lead, and then it felt like any chance you got was just an inch or so off, and you couldn't get those quality chances that you were looking for, and then any little mistake you made, they capitalized on, and it just snowballed from there. Is that an accurate assessment? Yeah,
it is. I mean, like I said, I don't think anyone watching that game, I don't think anyone think it's a 5-1 loss, but at the same time, I definitely don't think we played well enough to win. So I think it kind of comes down to, like you said, we got that first goal. I thought we started pretty well, came out ready to play, but then a couple unfortunate plays, and all of a sudden it's 3 on them, and then we're kind of trying to chase from there and not necessarily sticking to our game plan as well as we possibly could have. But at the same time, there's a couple of chances. There's pucks going through the goalie and out the other side and things like that. And if we just get one of those, I mean, we're right back in the game. So there's some positives, but like I said, overall, we definitely didn't play well enough.
Philip Forsberg is with us, Predators forward. So for you personally, when you look at a game like this, and you got a few days off now before you play again against Philadelphia on Saturday, do you just go ahead and toss it in the trash, or is it going to stick with you for a few days that there's some things that you can work on?
No, I think it's a combination of the both of them. Like at the end of the day, we're in a spot where we can't look back. We just got to look forward, But at the same time, we got to learn from our mistakes and try to get better. I think that's something that we've been pretty good at for the last couple of years. To be completely honest with you, just kind of shaking things off and moving on and working hard and trying to come ready to play the next game and answer the bell when we get a chance. And obviously, it's usually not a 4-day break in between, but it'd be nice to get some practices in and get even more dialed in after the break, like you said.
How much standing watching do you do this time of year, or do you just go out there and play your game and let it work out how it's supposed to?
No, I mean, I think we all prepare the same way. I mean, just speaking for myself, I try to prepare myself the best way I can just to be ready to go. And then once you're on the ice, you can rely on your preparations for the most part, just to go out there and trust that. And once it's game time, you just try to attack the game, try to play aggressive, be attacking, like I said, and hopefully, I mean, for the most part, things have been working out well for that. But I think that's just kind of the mindset.
Do you think that, one thing we saw before the break is, I mean, you guys were playing a lot of games, and it was compact, and we know about the team meeting that y'all had. We really saw a change there, and then you won 3 in a row. Do you think it's more beneficial to have a game almost every other night, or is it better this time of year to maybe spread them out a little bit?
I mean, I think – I don't know. I like the flow of the games, like when they're fairly often. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not looking forward to the March schedule. Like if we play 3 to 4 games a week, I think that's kind of the schedule. So you can get some practices in, but at the same time, like it's more game focused, so to speak. Like morning skates, get some rest day after. Try to get everything into the games, and obviously we're going to get a little bit of both going forward for the next little bit. It's a little easier, but then, like I said, once we hit March, it's basically just games. So I think it's the schedule is pretty much the same for the most part all year. So it's at least you get adjusted to it pretty easily.
I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but how's your buddy George Kittle doing? I was pulling for the 49ers. I thought they had a chance.
Yeah. I mean, they sure did. But, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, but it'd be like all of a sudden we are down to our – I don't even know. It'd be even more than the third-string goalie. It'd be even more than that. So I don't even know that situation is very unfortunate when you go down, because I thought they had a great team, and Brock Purdy was playing awesome too. So it was once they lost him, it was – obviously going to be a lot harder, but I haven't talked to him about that. I know, unfortunately, a little too well how it feels to lose in the playoffs and be done with your season. So I've been giving him a little bit of time, and he's had a great time over at the Pro Bowl. So I'll probably check in with him here in the next little bit or so before he gets back to town.
Well, we'll have to see him in Smashville soon for sure. But Phil, appreciate the time today. Best of luck against Philadelphia on Saturday, but we'll see you tonight at Nash Vegas.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
That is Philip Forsberg, Predators forward, joining us here on the show. We're joined by a player every Wednesday at 9:30, and obviously not what they wanted last night, and it was just one of those games where I'm sitting there watching it, Michelle, and it was just frustrating because it's like, oh, there's a good chance. Oh no, it's off the mark. It gets knocked away, and that was just kind of the theme of the game.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the. I hadn't been to a game in a while. It was only my second one in person this year, and right off the bat, Matt Duchene scores that quick goal, and I was like, okay, coming out strong, feeling good, after the All-Star break, because I feel like there's always kind of a question mark on that first game back. You don't know how the team's going to come out, And then we all know what happened. Vegas went on to score 5 goals. But honestly, it just looked like there was no pep in the step out there. Pep in the skate, right? I felt like the team looked a little slow, a little sluggish coming off the break. And it's definitely not what you want to see because they were performing really well before they took this 2-week break, before the All-Star break. So there was some momentum, and you felt like the team had clicked. People were on the same page. We saw the emergence of Cody Glass even more with Matthew Shane and Philip Forsberg. And then they're going to need to turn this around quick, especially if they still want to fight for a playoff spot. And, the trade deadline is coming up. Depending on their performance, could we see maybe a different move from David Poile, no moves at all, selling, buying? A lot of different factors moving forward.
Well, and I'm worried about something, and it was something I was worried about before the break, and I'm even more worried about it now. We'll discuss that coming up next as a part of the Daily Power Play. It's Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Chiefs, Eagles. All this week, join Stillman and Company live from Radio Row as Jared gets you ready for the big game.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
Our coverage is presented by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Green Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year. Right now, during their tax refund sale, it's Radio Row with Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, my time to tell you about Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars, because this is one of my favorite spots in town, because I love old fashions, and they have the best old fashioned in Nashville. It was actually voted the best old fashioned in Nashville over 14 other bars and restaurants in the city. They also have an exclusive relationship with Davidoff Cigars, the best cigars in the world, and that allows them access to rare cigars that only Blend can carry. Here's the cool part. I was in there a few weeks ago with a friend that is not a cigar smoker. They have a ventilation system. It changes the air every 7 minutes. It doesn't have that super smoky smell for those of you that aren't cigar smokers, so you can go in there and enjoy it just as much. It's got a VIP area, a private event area. Contact my man Jeremy for that, and you can get set up. It's got a big TV, your own furniture, your own bathroom. It's perfect. Blend Bar is located at 508 Church Street in downtown Nashville. You're blocks away from Bridgestone Arena, the Ryman Auditorium, and Nissan Stadium. So if you're looking for something to do before an event, you can go and hang out at Blend Bar. They also have the Preds games on Tuesdays to Saturday. Blend Bar is a great spot to catch any sporting event when you're out and about downtown. Go check them out. 508 Church Street. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars is luxury redefined.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals, in addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses. We will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Valentine's Day should be a day to look forward to, unless you have erectile dysfunction. Don't ruin this Valentine's for you and your special someone. It's time to get the solution you want, not depend on the pills. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. Are you ready to make Valentine's great again and get the results you want in the bedroom? Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and blood flow analysis totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willy Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Battery trouble? You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
You're listening to Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's time for the Daily Power Play.
And the score! A power play goal for the Predators.
Covering the Predators and the NHL.
With a shot that stopped by Saros.
Now on Chase and Michelle.
Mistakes like that end up in the back of your neck. Does that throw you off? Do you think that happened tonight?
You know, Joe, it shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't throw us off. I think there were, obviously a couple mistakes there that wound up going in. I think, it was too easy of offense to be able to give up, but I think we've got to be able to respond better than we did.
Back here on Chase and Michelle, it's the power play. That was John Hines last night. Predators lose to the Golden Knights 5-1, coming off the All-Star break, and just not their night. And I think John said it best. I mean, it was a couple mistakes here and there that ended up in the back of their net, and then they couldn't capitalize on their own scoring chances at all. And what I am concerned about, and I have been concerned about, and I think a lot of you are concerned about, is consistency. And the fact that this team all year has just been so inconsistent. They will play well for a stretch. And I mean, look, you can sit there and you can show me the record that, in the last 34, 35 games, I mean, the record says, if you just look at the record, it's like, okay, they're not that bad. But the standings tell you that they're not in the playoffs right now. They are there with a log jam of teams in the West fighting for a playoff spot. They sit 4 points out of a playoff spot right now, but they're behind Colorado and Calgary for that spot, as they have 54 points and those two teams have 58 points. And the inconsistencies is just what is going to prevent you from making it into the playoffs. And then, of course, there's the question of, well, all right, what happens if you get into the playoffs? Can you do anything with that? Last year you got swept by Colorado. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Colorado sitting in the second wild card spot. When this is all said and done, they're not going to be in the second wild card spot.
They'll be in the playoffs.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying.
I think they're going to be top 3 in the division. I don't know if they're 10 points back right now at Dallas, and I would not put it past them if they get healthy that they don't catch Dallas.
They'll be fine. And Chase, I think, just on the inconsistencies front with this Predators team, it's you look at this roster, and maybe if you're an outsider looking in and you look at their record, you're like, oh, it's not bad. It's not bad if you take kind of like a step back and you don't take a microscope and look really close. But when you then look at the guys on this team, they should be a playoff team. They should be. I mean, we talked about the additions they made last season, right? They decided, we're not going to try to go to a rebuild mode. We're going to get a Nino Niederreiter. We're going to get a Ryan McDonough, and we're going to beef up this team. But they just have not been able to click. And you think, okay, before the All-Star break, they're on a little run, right? You're beating some good teams. You're seeing them offensively be able to click. You're seeing the young guys get involved with the veterans. But this team last night, too, once they got in the hole and once Vegas got up on them, I mean, so Matt Duchene gets the first goal, and then, a couple, not even like a play or two later, then Vegas scores, and then 30 seconds later, a turnover that Vegas scores again. They're already up at 5-0 or almost 5:04 in the first period. So that, and then they just couldn't get themselves out. And then you could see it. You could see the difference in the play out there. Once Vegas got up, I just felt like, they were slow and they couldn't get back on defense, and just the shots on goal. I mean, 6 shots on goal in
that was bad.
2 periods?
And that was the perfect illustration of the way the game was going, because they only had 6 shots on net because the chances that they were getting that looked like, oh, this is going to be really good, wouldn't go on net. No. And that's the problem.
But I also just feel like they just couldn't get back to defend at all. And like I said, slow. Overall looking slow, and that is not, especially coming off a big break, and you feel like, okay, they got some rest, it's a long season, you probably look forward to this break more than halfway through the year, you got about 30 games left, but they just look slow and inconsistencies upon inconsistencies.
Yeah, and that's what takes down a team if you are inconsistent. And I'm reading the text line right now, and and it's one game, but it's also not. It's a season, and people are back on the. I think a lot of these people never got off the Fire Hines train, but
yeah, that's our text line right now, pretty much.
That's what it is. But here was John Hines, because to your point, they seem flat, and John Hines was asked if there was flatness last night.
Flatten? I mean, I know you got the first goal, early goal, but was there a flatness in general?
No, I thought we got off to a good start, and then we got the lead, and then I think where it started really in the first was we wanted to play a skill game when there was no time and space. I think when you go back in the first period after that, a lot of turnovers, a lot of east-west plays when the plays weren't there, and that caused them to be able to transition back, and we did a little bit better job in the second period. But we weren't, when we were in the offensive zone, we weren't competitive enough to be able to get over pucks and sustain offense. And to me, it really was the mindset and our puck play early in the game. And then I also think from a competitive standpoint, we weren't at the level that you need to be to give yourself a chance to win a game.
That's John Hines last night on flatness, and I think if you're not at the level of where you need to be to win a game, that to me that falls under the flatness category.
It falls under who wants it more. It falls under motivation. It falls under who wants to be out there to play. And, I mean, hearing that from John Hines, him saying, or what was the exact quote he just said?
Well, he was talking about execution and that, we're not doing the right things, to win.
He just said something, though, about, flatness. But what that shows me is lack of motivation, lack of want to win. That is... I feel like falls on the players. I know that John Hines, his team has been streaky for the last 2 years now, and coaching plays a role into that. But as far as last night, I mean, he can't get out there and skate for them. I mean, it's the chicken and the egg. Is it the coach or is it the players? But I mean, from last night, I just saw flatness. I saw slowness, and I mean, your coach can't do that for you.
No, and it's got to be some motivation. I think that it's hard, when you're off for that long. I mean, I know, for us, if we go on a week-long vacation, the first day back, I'm sluggish because it's just like I've done, I haven't worried about work for a week, and even though I usually get bothered, but I haven't worried about work. It's usually Nick. You're sluggish, and that's normal, but they had a couple of days to practice. And I think that John had hoped that they would shake all that off, and they didn't. So they have a few more days to
and a home game.
Yeah, I know.
Also, really quick before we go to break, Shane from the Borough has a good text. He said, Elliot Friedman last week said the players would show Poyle what to do at the trade deadline. If last night isn't an indicator of how the next 5 to 7 games are going to go, I think the players are speaking pretty loudly as to what should be done. Shane, I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, we will see. And Philadelphia is that's one that they need to go in and they need to win because Philadelphia is not very good. So it's time to it's time to take care of those type games and get those points. So we'll have coverage for you starting at 10:30 in the morning on Saturday as they will take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Coming up next, we'll dive back into the Titans and the hiring of Tim Kelly, plus NASCAR driver Alex Bowman going to join the show. The Daytona 500 coming up in about a week and a half, so we will talk to him. That's all next on Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He's got big takes.
It's not that freaking hard. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win. They just invested a lot into this game. I thought it was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6. Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You can trek through the savannas of Africa. Wait on the magic moment on the Great Plains of North America. Or find the thrills of Patagonia. You can book your dream hunt at the SEI Convention, coming to Nashville for the very first time. Come find your adventure February 22nd through February 25th. It's the ultimate sportsman's market, a place for every hunter. And this year, it's happening Music City style, with special performances by Lee Brice, Big and Rich, The Frontman with Gretchen Wilson, and of course, Leonard Skinner. It's a celebration of the outdoor lifestyle, February 22nd through February 25th. Come find your adventure. Just log on to safariclub.org. One more time, that's safariclub.org. This convention will sell out, so reserve your spot today. Come find your adventure.
At 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, we recognize our veterans, active military, and first responders with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Your Game Center update.
This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. A big milestone in the NBA last night. Power forward LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer last night, reaching 38,390 points. He achieved the milestone against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the third quarter. And your Tennessee Titans have officially announced the hiring of offensive coordinator Tim Kelly. Mike Vrabel addressed why it was the right hire for the organization.
Yeah, I think what Tim ultimately was able to do was be able to provide some familiarity and some carryover to what we were doing, because I don't think everything's broken. I don't believe that. but then also be able to, add some things that, can really help us.
And down over at Bridgestone Arena, the Nashville Predators fell 5-1 last night to the Vegas Golden Knights after being held to 6 shots through the first 2 periods. The Preds will travel to Philadelphia for a matinee matchup on Saturday afternoon. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Nick Keyser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
All the big topics.
That's what people want to know about.
Mixed with some entertainment.
So funny.
It's not funny.
Give it a minute.
This is Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
We got a great show for you, and even if we don't, who cares?
Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic, Nick Keyser here with you. Hey, a reminder, later today, tune in for Stillman & Company, live from Radio Row. That's all presented by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale at Social Furniture. Alex Bowman, NASCAR driver, going to join us in about 10 minutes, so looking forward to that. Daytona 500 is a week and a half or so away, but the Titans have named Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator, after promoting him. He was the passing game coordinator last year on the staff, and a flurry of moves made yesterday by Mike Vrabel, including that one. Charles London, who had been with Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons, but had coached previously with Vrabel in Houston, has been hired as the pass game coordinator and the quarterback's coach. Lori Locust has been hired as a defensive quality control coach, and Justin Hamilton has been hired as a defensive quality control coach as well. Tony Dews moves from running backs to tight ends. Jason Hoteling becomes the offensive line coach. He was the assistant offensive line coach. Pat O'Hara moves from quarterback coach to passing game analyst, and Luke Steckel moves from tight ends coach to run game analyst. I don't know exactly what the analyst's title means.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz was an analyst, but obviously made a big impact, on the defense. So those are the position changes and the moves that Mike Vrabel made yesterday. I didn't say this earlier, but I think it is important for me to say this. I don't hate the Tim Kelly move by any means.
Me either.
I had kind of convinced myself that they were going to go outside and Matt Nagy was going to come in and be the OC, even though I kind of knew that there was a good chance that it would just revert back to Tim Kelly, and that's the move that Vrabel's wanted to make all along. And look, it could turn out to be the right move. We could see this offense take a huge step forward and become something, because all along, even before Todd Downing, he wanted Tim Kelly, and they wouldn't let him talk to him. So there is a chance that this might turn out to be the best move that Vrabel's ever made, and it could turn out to blow up in his face. And if it does that, then maybe he is without a job. I don't know. But obviously something has to change. What concerns me is Vrabel using the phrase, "I don't think it's broken." I don't know if I can buy that. Now, I'll give him that they need to rebuild the offensive line. You need more offensive weapons. Tannehill was hurt. So that obviously factors in. But I don't hate the Tim Kelly move. We'll see, what kind of spin he can put on things. And it's also, he's had a year to kind of observe and not have the pressure of being the play caller. And so that, I think, can be a benefit. And we'll go from there.
No, I agree, Chase. And I think for me, I'm not disappointed in the hire because we haven't been able to see what Tim Kelly – we don't know what he did with this offense, right? So there's still a question mark.
And we never will.
No, exactly. We'll only know what he did with the Texans in the couple years he was there. Listen, he had Deshaun Watson. You know what that offense looked like. And Vrabel even he even mentioned that last game in Houston with Davis Mills last year. The Tennessee Titans had to win that game to win to earn the 1 seed, and their offense looked pretty good with Davis Mills. So, there's definitely a testament to that. You've seen what he's been able to do with a star quarterback and also a guy who probably won't be starting in the league for much longer. And I think fans are disappointed because they thought, we're going to get a Matt Nagy who's worked with Patrick Mahomes, and we're going to get that offense. But that offense is that way because Patrick Mahomes, right? So you could essentially try to run the exact same offense that is in Kansas City here if you were to get Matt Nagy, but you don't have Patrick Mahomes, so it looks a lot different, right? You don't know what Tim Kelly is able to do. So it still is it's an in-house hire, but I don't think fans should be discouraged that the offense is going to look the same. They're not going to throw the ball as much. They're going to just keep the run game. Yeah, I think there's still going to be a heavy run game, but depending on, what weapons they go out and get, Ryan Tannehill, if he is the starting quarterback, I think he's going to be the starting quarterback. I feel pretty confident that he is going to be the starting quarterback.
Koharski said 80%.
Yeah, I'm more like 94%.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with it. I'm kind of back and forth on that. But, ultimately, I think he's going to be back. But I don't know where I am percentage-wise is what I mean. But I think what has to change is, and, a texter corrected me, Jared and Dixon corrected me, and he is right, that Vrabel didn't say that everything was broken. He said he doesn't believe that everything is broken. And he did say that. So
isn't that what you said?
Well, I said it was broken, and but he's saying that in Vrabel's context, it was that not everything is broken when people think. But and so I recognize that it just has to be not predictable. That's the thing. It's just I could have called the plays. I've been like, hand off to Henry, check down.
Well, I think
it has to be not predictable.
I think a lot of the predictability and us watching is that the only offensive threat they had was Derrick Henry. So the defense is focused on him. They are focused solely on him and, Ryan Tannehill. They have 2 guys to focus on because Treylon Burks, still a rookie. He can go man-to-man with whoever's back in the secondary. Nick Westbrook-Akine is not a threat. Right? They didn't have a threat. At least when they had AJ on the team, it's not like the entire defense could be on Derrick Henry. At least they had another guy. They had an A.J. Brown. And even when Julio Jones was healthy out there, people still had to focus on him too, just because, he's not the Hall of Fame player he was years ago, but, he's still out there as an offensive threat. They didn't have any threats this year. So I think a lot, too, as far as, the predictability and the offense not being predictable, was the fact that the only offensive threat they had was Derrick Henry. Chig here and there, but these still are young guys, right? So defenses were they were able to read what they were going to do, and they didn't have a good offensive line. So that played into that as well. I think, if you can get some weapons, I don't think it will be as predictable. And then also, be more creative. So Tim Kelly, we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, and I think he's coming in with not a lot of pressure on him. I think that's
really.
I don't. I think Vrabel is shouldering the pressure.
Yeah, I think an offensive coordinator
there's always going to be a little bit,
have a lot of pressure on them, just because I feel like they're the easy scapegoat when something is going wrong with the team. But I think personally that all of these coaching moves, and Tony Dews to the tight ends coach and hiring a new running back coach and moving some different things around, Charles London in as your passing game coordinator and your quarterbacks coach. I think that all of this will fall on Vrabel because, you've been in the league now as a head coach a couple years now, and all of these moves were yours, right? You wanted to hire Tim Kelly a couple years ago. Now you get him as your offensive coordinator. You make a couple other moves. You add Charles London.
Right.
So
he gets the pressure. It's not as much on Kelly. You're right. There's always a little bit. I mean, for sure. But now it's more on Vrabel. Coming up next, we'll talk a little racing. Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 for Team Hendrick Motorsports in NASCAR, will join us as we get ready for the Daytona 500. We'll do that next. Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, the final drive for the championship is here, and there's no better place to wager on the football title tilt than Superbook Sports. Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business. Plus, you can check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. With over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas, there's no place better to wager than Superbook. Win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Just download the Superbook Sports app today. Looking ahead to this weekend, Philadelphia is a 1.5-point favorite against Kansas City, and that over-under at 51, that one is intriguing with both of these offenses. You can do it all right there on the Superbook Sports app. Just visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball?
Intercepted right all by himself for a one-hand flush.
Your home for the Commodores is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Put it up. It's good. Count it.
Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pull to trigger. Yes from 3.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app. Taking you through your mid-morning.
Love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. This is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life.
Where'd you find those crazy characters?
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezvik with you. The Daytona 500 is about a week and a half away, and you know that I can't wait for that. Let's say hello to Alex Bowman. He's the driver of the number 48 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. He's on the line with us. Alex, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. Good to talk to you again. And let's just start with last weekend, last Sunday, the calamity that was the Busch Clash at the Coliseum. We saw it last year. I think this year, now that you guys have had some time in the new car and you've done this before, y'all got a little more brave. It was something to watch. What was it like from the driver's seat?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've all kind of figured out how to be really aggressive with the next-gen car, and we're all a bit more comfortable. So comfortable in driving the car turns into more comfortable in running people over. I think we were all running each other over and not giving any room. It's kind of funny. A bunch of us were talking before the race. We knew we were going to run each other over, and it's like, are we going to be mad about it? Is it going to carry on to regular season races, or do we just accept it? Because the racetrack that we're on, it kind of breeds that sort of racing. But, yeah, we had a great car. Thankfully, I was in front of all the drama and, came up a couple spots short, kind of one bad restart away from having a shot to win it. But ended up fourth, so we'll move on to Daytona here in a couple weeks, and yeah, the clash was crazy for sure.
Well, and I was telling someone when I was watching the race, I was like, Alex is in a good spot because I thought the three in front of you were going to take each other out, and then you were just going to be able to scoot by and get the win. It didn't work out that way, but that's just kind of how the race went. But you brought something up that I was going to ask of, is anyone really mad, or because it's an exhibition race, you know what it is, you just go out there and have fun, beat and bang on the cars, and then you move on when it really counts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are people that are actually mad. Like, I think, I haven't seen everything that happened. Thankfully, we were in front of most of it, but like, I'm sure Bubba's not happy with Austin. I'm sure there are guys that are legitimately mad and have reason to be. It is an exhibition race, but we all go there working hard. There's a lot of effort. That race is super expensive for teams to do, to go all the way across the country. Your guys put a lot of time in those race cars, whether they're going to the Coliseum or they're going to Daytona. It doesn't matter. There's a ton of work involved. So we all care. But, it was kind of interesting conversation. I don't know. Thankfully, I'm on the good side of that. I don't think I really am on anybody's list, and I didn't really get run over by anybody either. So clean slate going into 2023 for me.
One more on the clash. I know I've read some rumors and everything that it could potentially become a points race. Do you want to see it just stay an exhibition, or do you think it could be on the schedule as a points-paying race?
Yeah, I just don't know how you do that as a points race, right? Like, you can't put all the cars on it. It took us an hour to go 6 laps with 20-something cars. It's just tough. I think it's a great idea and a great event for what it is, but it's not I don't know. I just don't see how you would make it a points race, but maybe, there's people way smarter than me and have way different opinions than me that make those decisions. So, I'll do whatever they tell me to do. If they tell me we got to run a figure 8 for a points race, I'm going to go do it. But, I don't know. I don't see that working out great, but maybe it would.
We're talking to Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 for Hendrick Motorsports, Daytona 500, coming up on February 19th. You've started the season now with a new crew chief in Blake Harris. How is that relationship going so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've known Blake for a little while, but just getting to work closely with him, we have a lot in common on we both have raced some dirt stuff and are really interested in sprint car racing, and we've had a lot of fun together so far. We hung out at Chili Bowl quite a bit. It's just been really cool. I think Blake is really switched on. He's all in on anything he's doing, and the relationship's off to a great start. So looking forward to what the rest of the year holds. But I know my race car was fast at the Coliseum, and that's the most important thing to me. So things are going great.
And, we know last year you dealt with the concussions. You got to come back for Phoenix and do one more race with Greg, which I know meant a lot to you. But as you get ready for a clean slate, I mean, how excited are you for Daytona and having a shot at your first Daytona 500 win?
Yeah, I'm excited. Daytona's its own animal. It's tough. It's tough to survive that race. It's tough to not get crashed the whole race, but then the end gets so intense and there's so much that goes on. It's really hard to make it through all that. So, it's so easy to get caught up in somebody else's mess there that I feel like that part of it makes it hard for me to be like, that's the race. That's what I need to be the most excited about. I'm excited about the whole season right now, but at the same time, it is the Daytona 500. It is the biggest race of the year, one of the most important races, and we're going to do all we can to go win the thing. Just hopefully somebody else doesn't ruin it for us, because I feel like that's what's happened for the last 6 years or so for me.
Yeah, Alex Bowman is with us, and I was actually just in Daytona. Unfortunately, won't get to go to the race this year, but I was down there for a wedding. And what I love about this time of year is it's not just the racing going on at the big track. There's stuff at New Smyrna. There's stuff at Volusia. I saw on social media you were running a little bit at Volusia. So how much fun is that to be able to do some other things outside of your day job, which is Cup Series racing?
Yeah, it's been super fun. When Kyle came over to Hendrick Motorsports, he kind of kicked the door down for us all to get to run different types of race cars.
Yeah,
and
Rick wasn't
races.
keen on that early on, so that's cool that Kyle was able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. It's been great for us. I've enjoyed it. Kyle and William kind of went to their roots and stuff that they're really good at, and I just randomly picked sprint car racing that I've never done before, and I'm really terrible at it. But I've had a ton of fun. It's been a huge learning curve and super humbling because all the races I can do are the hardest races in the country to do. It's not like we're going to easy places, but it's been super fun. It's cool to get to go race with my friends. I'm sitting in the parking lot at the One Daytona Hotel working on a sprint car right now. Just getting ready to go back to the racetrack tonight. So it's been fun. I enjoy it. I'm going to be here the whole time until the 500. So all the Volusia stuff, and we'll go to East Bay next week and then start the NASCAR stuff. So it's been really cool.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, best of luck in the Daytona 500 and with your sprint car racing as well. Always enjoy talking to you, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one.
You too. That's Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 for Hendrick Motorsports, as the Daytona 500 coming up on February 19th. Cannot wait for that. You can hear that right here on both 94.9 The Fan and after the Preds game, the conclusion here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. So, Michelle, you will hear some racing. I warned you when we did this show. You're gonna learn.
I don't know if I got that warning. I got that warning after the show started.
I thought I mentioned it. I don't know.
Listen, I can assume, though. I can assume.
We need to get you out to a race. I think you and Ryan from Chicago would have fun. I mean, they're racing on the streets of Chicago, so they are doing that this year.
I
in
need
July.
to get into whatever Junie and Jeff and Cindy, some of our coworkers, got to do when they
IndyCar.
Yeah, I need to do that.
So that was.
But I will not be driving. I will be sitting.
No, just
shotgun.
ride along. But you'd like, we could get you a ride out at the Super Speedway in a stock car. They're a little bigger.
Let's do it.
But they're fun. I got to do that, so we could do that.
Put a GoPro in my head.
Yeah, they will. But they're going to do a street race similar to what they've done here in Nashville with the Indy cars. They're going to do that with NASCAR in Chicago this year, July 4th weekend. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I went to the Music City one here, but fun fact, I actually went to the Indy 500 in 2020 when there was no one there.
Oh, wow.
Because I was covering it for one of my internships. Probably one of the most eerie things ever.
Just
because
empty.
the stands are just completely empty and just the loud noises of the cars racing around. So I need to go to a race with people and everything because I have a very unique and weird experience, not the traditional one.
Yeah, we'll get you around some crazy NASCAR fans. You'll have fun. It's always a good time. So appreciate Alex for joining us. Back into the Titans though, and the Tim Kelly news. Charles London's the one that I am intrigued by because I know Derek Mason has been saying for a while that he was questioning the development and honestly you can apply this to offensive line as well, and I think that's ultimately why they made a change, why Keith Carter was let go as the offensive line coach, is they're looking for more development at those positions. And I think Charles London, even though if it is Ryan Tannehill, which I believe it's going to be, that he can come in and help him learn some new ideas as well and continue to develop as a passer, and then also help develop whatever's next, whether it's Malik Willis or if they end up spending a draft pick this year. But I think the Charles London hire is what's intriguing.
Yeah, I think that because he is, although he did know Vrabel before, he is the outsider coming in. He also was the offensive coordinator for the Senior Bowl. That was just a couple days ago. So Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon were able to be down there and watch him, live in person, and to see an offense that he was able to put together with guys from all over the place. So I think that's probably also promising too, that they kind of got to see him in action and that he knew that they were there, even though they've seen what he's been able to do with different organizations. over his career in Chicago for a little bit and then with the Atlanta Falcons most recently. But yeah, I think that's true, right? And I mean, when they drafted Malik Willis, I know it was and we don't even throw his name around anymore. I know it was very much a question mark, a guy who played at Liberty but had a big arm, athletic guy. I mean, maybe some of the development issues, maybe they could help Malik Willis with that. And I don't even know if he's going to be on the team next year. So don't go yelling at me on the text line right now.
Yeah.
We don't even want him. But, I mean, you never know, right? And I think that Vrabel honed in on, the teaching and the developing. We don't care where these guys are coming from, but it's our job when they get here to develop them and help them be able to get, the best out of themselves. They also hired Jason Hotaling as the new offensive line coach, replacing Keith Carter. That was an interesting one because he essentially was the assistant offensive line coach. So, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. That makes me think that Vrabel didn't really want to fire Keith Carter and was forced to fire Keith Carter and then just kind of hired somebody.
I don't know.
I mean, if he's...
I kind of think he
I think
had soured on Keith Carter.
I think of teacher and student. I mean, if the offensive line was... I mean, maybe he did, but I don't know. The way I look at it is, okay, he was learning from Keith Carter. And yeah, it'll be different. They're different guys, but if it was really that big of a problem, I would think he would go outside. But then again, Vrabel likes to hire his guys. So who knows? That was just kind of the way I looked at it. I was like, oh, well, if you're just going to hire the person who was second in command there, then.
Right. Coming up next, is it Ryan Tannehill? Is Ryan Tannehill going to be the starter? There was something that, even though I still believe it's going to happen, I have questions about when it comes to how Mike Vrabel answers things. Hey, want to pass this along as well. Former Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff, who worked with Ran Carthon, is going to be on with Stillman and Company at 5:30 today as a part of Radio Row coverage, so you won't want to miss that. That'll be a good interview coming up. Hey, Preds fans, want to win tickets to our Lower Bowl Section 102? Just text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to the game text line at 615-737-1025. And you'll be entered to win. Win with 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and you can win with Superbook here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. This year, the only app you need for the Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download now and use the promo code JGM so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads and who will score a touchdown. I feel very confident about Travis Kelce as an anytime touchdown scorer in this football game. All on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. And best of all, you'll get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel with the promo code JGM to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57 and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issues, non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.sportsbook.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce February 14th, 16th, 21st, and 23rd for an exclusive look into what makes Nashville the IT city. Whether you're new to town or a Nashville native, Intro Nashville gives you the opportunity to become engaged and connected to our city's community. During this multi-day immersive program, you'll hear from over 20 community leaders and industry experts whose storytelling unlocks a comprehensive view of our city and region. Gain historical and economic perspective on Nashville while establishing relationships with local business leaders. Space is limited. Register now at intronash.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I got some good news.
Taking you through your mid-morning, this is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And Mike, what does today's news mean for Ryan?
Well, I don't think anything. I mean, I talked to Ryan. I let him know which direction that we were headed. He's I don't want to speak for him. He seemed excited, about what we were going to do and about who we were doing it with. But again, Rand and I are evaluating the entire roster. The players that are under contract, the players that are going to be potential free agents here pretty soon. So, Ryan's in here every day, and he's, excited about where things are headed. So, other than that, I don't know what to tell you other than being able to say, we've got to get ready here to add a lot of pieces and find ways to do that.
That's Mike Vrabel on Ryan Tannehill yesterday at his Zoom press conference. Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios, and we are presented by Hair Club. Love your hair, live your life, creating custom hair loss solutions for men and women. So I still feel like Vrabel's being non-committal, even though I think he's being committal, non-committal, at the same time. I hear that, and there's one part where he's like, yeah, I talked to Ryan. Okay, if Ryan wasn't going to be your quarterback, who cares? You wouldn't talk to him. You wouldn't tell him about this. So, all right, he's committing there. But then he says, Rand and I are still evaluating the roster. Okay, well, what are you evaluating? If Tannehill's your guy, what do you need to evaluate from his position? And yeah, it's just it's going to be him. They're not going to trade for Rodgers. They're not going to trade for the #1 pick and draft Bryce. I mean, I guess they could still do that and Tannehill be here. But I think it's still going to be Tannehill, but it's why not just come out and say, when Jared asked the question and Vrabel knows it's Jared asking the question, just be like, Ryan Tannehill is our quarterback. He is the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans for the 2023 season.
Well, I mean,
but he's leaving that door just a little bit open in case they do something different.
I think he is, and I'm not trying to get in Vrabel's head, but I would love to know what he's thinking.
We've been trying to do that for 6 years. So,
but I mean, what it comes back to is I think of the comment he made about the AJ Brown. As long as I'm a coach here, AJ will be on the team, and then he saw what happened with that drastic trade, and
fair point.
Him not being a head coach. I mean, this is his. He hasn't been a head coach for that long in the league, and I know he's played in the league and things like that, but
he's been a head coach for 6 years now. I mean, that's
but I mean, I guess you're right.
That's actually pretty good.
He still is considered though a younger one. You look at some of these other guys like Andy Reid, but yeah, okay. So he's at 6 years, right? I feel like that was one of those shocking. I thought he would always be on our team. Shocking things where John was like, we're gonna make the trade, and it was like, oh God. I said, as long as I'm the coach, and we brought that comment up a lot. As long as I'm the coach, AJ will be underneath me. So I feel like now he's telling us about his actions, which his actions say that Ryan Tannehill will be the starting quarterback next year. He says Ryan Tannehill's in here every day. I talked on the phone with Ryan Tannehill about who I'm going to hire as our offensive coordinator and who he is going to be working with every day. So I always think of, okay, believe somebody's actions. He's telling us he did that. I believe that, but then he's kind of backing it up by saying, oh, but we're still evaluating the roster, just in case somehow maybe they could get an Aaron Rodgers, or they decided to draft somebody after the combine when they see a guy and they're like, oh, we need to do everything we can to get him.
He's learned from his former GM, because the one thing that John did is he said, I don't foresee trading A.J. Brown, which left the door open just a little bit, where he's not full on lying, but he's saying, I don't foresee it, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen. And so that could be exactly what that could be exactly what it's happening, here with the Ryan Tannehill thing. Ultimately, I think Tannehill's going to be the quarterback, and honestly, that's what it should be. I mean, I think right now that is the best move. And for those of you that are like, well, go get Rodgers, as we talked about yesterday, that's going to take a lot. And then on top of that, you have to figure out what to do with Tannehill, because you owe him $36 million, and if you cut him, you're going to save 18, but
you're still going to be
you
dead
still got that dead cap on, plus what you got to pay Rodgers, and then what you got to give up to get Rodgers. There's a lot that goes into it. Now, is Green Bay willing to take Tannehill the other way? I would say probably not. Probably not. But, I just –
they're an interesting one. They're an interesting one where they have had the answer at quarterback for the last 50 years, I feel like, even though I haven't even been alive 50 years.
I mean –
double my lifetime, but –
30.
Yeah, they have had back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and Green Bay, we know, the ultimate football town, literally a stadium in the middle of Green Bay. And Jordan Love, I mean, big question mark. That is going to be interesting for that franchise, because they've owned that division and they've had the answer. So
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting place to be.
They're going to be cursed now for the next 40 years. They're not going to have a quarterback. But that's how it should be, because it's not fair to everyone else.
It's like the Colts. The Colts went from Manning to Luck, and everybody's going like, what the heck? But it just that's kind of a part of it. You can't always have the franchise guy. But what are they going to do at quarterback? And the reports are that the Raiders are allowing Derek Carr to talk to the Saints.
He's going to go visit them.
There's a report that they already have compensation in place for a trade, and so it looks like Derek Carr could end up being the quarterback of the Saints starting next year, which I think is an interesting move.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, look at the starting quarterbacks in that division alone. The Saints.
The Saints, yeah. So
maybe Sam Darnold.
Probably Sam Darnold.
Desmond Ridder, question mark.
Maybe, yeah. And then who knows who Tampa has?
Tampa's third, Kyle something.
There, Trask,
there you go. I'm like, who is that? So, yeah.
And big game Blaine, don't forget. He's there.
Yeah. So, I mean, Derek Carr, actually, you think of the Saints, it's a division where kind of reminds me of the AFC South. We talk about that, the NFC South and the AFC South. Both of the worst divisions this year. Okay, Saints, you go get a Derek Carr who, he's not an elite guy, but he's a solid veteran, been in the league for a while, somewhat consistent. He's very similar to a Ryan Tannehill. They could win the division next year. I mean, that one's wide open.
Reporter Nick, did you have something to add?
No, not really. I think y'all been hitting on it pretty well. Now, I am more of a Saints fan like Elijah, yeah, I do like them. I've liked them for about 10 years. But I think the one thing that stands out to me with that being such a weak division, I am curious to see how attractive that is to a guy like Derek Carr, because he's not going to turn around the Saints by any. There's no way.
Hang on a second. So you've been a Saints fan for about 10 years.
Correct.
So let's see. About 10 years ago, coming off a Super Bowl victory.
13 years ago.
Yeah, 13 years ago. Yeah, that's convenient. So in your fandom, you're a Sacramento Kings fan of the NBA, which is probably the most random.
Shout out Kevin Herter.
That's still the most random team, I think, to be a fan of, and then a Saints fan.
I think that's fair, but however,
we have teams here.
We do, and I'm not saying that I don't like the Grizzlies at all, but I went to my first NBA game a few months ago, and I have family out there, so I've liked them, I've known about them for a while, and honestly, they're not bad. And then the whole Saints thing, I have a whole other spiel, but my grandmother got jerseys for me when I was young, and that was just the one that I picked. And I kept track of them. Yeah, I had the choices between Brady, Roethlisberger, Breeze, and I think a Vince Young jersey, and I did not take any of the other ones. So
I think you chose right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And look, people ask me, well, why are you a Cowboys fan? Because I grew up in the 90s. I had family in Dallas, and there was no team here, so that was why.
Yeah,
I had a Jerome Bettis jersey. The boss. When I was
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do you even remember him playing?
So my dad and my dad's side of the family, some of them are from Pittsburgh, huge Steelers fan. And I had like an epiphany the other day. We were talking about old Steelers players, and I was talking to Junie, and I was like, oh my God, I remember being a little kid just screaming, the boss.
Okay. Well, hey,
super random, so random.
See,
but I feel like that's how, like Nick's saying, like that is how people create these, like how they get their their fandom.
A lot of times
it
comes from your parents. Yeah, for sure. Coming up next, it was a historic night in the association. We will discuss that and what that means. Also, there's a big basketball game in our city tonight. We'll get into that as we put a bow on things. It's Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost. Matt Boucher.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knesvik here for Superbook Sports. Listen, I've been telling you about it all football season long, and now the final drive for the championship is finally here, and there's no better place to wager on the football title than Superbook Sports. Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business, plus you can check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. Eagles and Chiefs, the last two teams standing, already in Arizona, got a long week ahead of themselves. No, less than a week now, but they've been there for a full week. Eagles are favored by 1.5. I know the Chiefs have been in this situation before. They have competed in a couple of these. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, I think they're a better quarterback tight end duo, but I think overall this Eagles team is just built so well, so I'm taking the Eagles minus the 1.5, and I do love the over at 50.5. And with over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Vegas, there's no better place to wager than Superbook Sports. Win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Valentine's Day should be a day to look forward to, unless you have erectile dysfunction. Don't ruin this Valentine's for you and your special someone. It's time to get the solution you want, not depend on the pills. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. Are you ready to make Valentine's great again and get the results you want in the bedroom? Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and blood flow analysis, totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
You're listening to Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic, Nick Keyser, Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase coming up in just a few minutes. Obviously, they will have more about Tim Kelly being named the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. But historic night last night in the NBA. LeBron James passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, becomes the all-time scoring leader for the NBA, and that was really cool. And one of the most laziest, oldest, most tired arguments in sports radio is LeBron or Jordan. But, they are.
I didn't know where you were going there.
Yeah, they are. I mean, look, they're both great. So they both deserve a ton of credit. I saw a crazy thing on Twitter, too, of
the shots next to each other?
Yeah, with Jordan and, everybody's just watching. And then with LeBron, everybody's got their phones out.
I know. And then I just, there's going to be so many pictures, everywhere. And you're sitting under the basket. You're going to be in them. And
So
I get it, you want your own, but that just happens. Enjoy the game.
But let me ask you a question, because I thought about this recently. Because I'm one of those that, if I'm at a concert or I'm at a sporting event, I'll take a picture, I'll take a video.
I know what you're going to bring up.
And I say to myself, how many times do I go back and actually look at that?
Or listen to it.
And the answer is I never look at it again.
No.
Now, do I have a few pictures? I have one of Rob Baronis right before he's kicking a 60-yard field goal to beat Indianapolis.
Cool.
My dad and I went, and I have that framed. So there are some that I will use, I will take. I have one of Garth that, I'm 3 rows from the stage.
Do you have the one of Eric Church and Ryan Porth holding hands?
He has that one. I don't have that. My friend got to do that with Luke Combs, and, so cool. So there are certain exceptions, but it's
be in the moment,
Be
people.
in the moment.
Literally, one of my biggest pet peeves is at concerts when people aren't even enjoying it and they're just standing there videoing every last second of it. And I'm I promise
you'll never go back and watch.
I promise you, it's not good if you go back and listen to it. Enjoy the moment and just remember the moment. I get, taking a picture of you and your friend at the concert or something like that. Our generation has become so much of, I just need to capture. You're not going to capture the moment.
No.
Does that make sense?
No,
you're
once
not
the moment's
capture
gone,
the
it's
moment.
gone.
So be there, enjoy it. Phil Knight was in the front row, and he's just sitting there enjoying it. And there's a picture, and everybody has their phones around him, and I'm that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
But quickly to I'm actually really sad because I fell asleep and didn't see the game live, so I need to go back and watch it, but I've seen some of the videos. I mean, what an accomplishment. And for everybody who always says, the Michael LeBron, I'm not talking about that. What he accomplished,
it doesn't matter.
What he accomplished last night, I mean, I didn't know if anybody would. And you think about LeBron, 18 years old, on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and the amount of pressure that guy had on him, and to still be playing at an incredibly high level, still probably going to play for a couple more years, already beat the all-time
He's going to play
scoring
with his son.
record.
Like he and his son are going to play together, I think.
Yeah, 100%. But like to beat the all-time scoring record and have a plus mark next to it because you're far from done. I mean, I could still see him play like 5 more years. Bronny is 18?
He's got.
So he'll probably do the G League Ignite or something, or he'll go to college. I don't know, be a one and done. But he obviously has options. But I mean, it's just pretty incredible if you take the argument of who's better, Jordan, Michael. If you take that away and you just look at what he's been able to accomplish, I mean, it's pretty incredible. And this is kind of funny. This just shows how competitive he still is. Sammy Hassan works for the Bulls Times. Yeah, Chicago Bulls reporter. Michael Jordan, quote, I don't know if this was after, I don't know if he got this quote from him, but it was recently posted. Michael Jordan, quote, if I'd play for stats, I'd never retire in 93. Or I'd be still chasing the all-time Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring lead. It's all about winning championships and winning. The stats that matter to me is games. That we win games and rings that you collect.
You know what it pisses me off? Like, stop being such a jerk. Stop being an a-hole. That's just, like, I don't get it. You are the greatest of all time, and everybody recognizes that.
It's only a game. Why do you have to be mad?
But he does, like, when I was in Chicago and went to the Bulls games, like, you know, Porth was telling me, like, yeah, he's rarely here. Like, they'll ask him to do stuff. He doesn't do it. He's just such a curmudgeon, and just, you know, I think, and if you watch The Last Dance, which was very well done, you can just see what a jerk he is. And it's just like, why? Why be that way? And I don't know LeBron. I know I've heard LeBron can be, you know, a diva at times too, but it's like, dude, you just be cool. Like, stop, congratulate the guy. You're right. You wouldn't have retired in 93. There are a lot of reasons why you retired in 93. Okay? So let's just say what it is.
And I know a lot of people like to comment on, like, both of their characters, but just from seeing, you know, like, from the outside world, and I don't know these guys, and I never like the take of, you know, LeBron's a diva or Jordan's a jerk, because we truly do not know them. But I will say this. I mean, Michael Jordan is one of the best to ever do it. But if you care so much about the game and respect the game so much, you should respect and congratulate what LeBron has been able to do and the longevity he has been able to have in this career.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, when you look at it, there's not going to be one, we can have this argument in sports talk radio and on TV and with our friends. There's never going to be one person who is the absolute best at, like, what, like you have it with Brady and Joe Montana and Michael Jordan and LeBron, and you try to compare them for different decades. Like, I don't understand why we can't agree. It has to be one. Like, we can't agree that they're, like, great in different ways. They did amazing things for the sport in general.
Yeah.
It always has to be one.
I would love to have
and maybe he did congratulate them. We don't know.
He probably didn't. He probably
but
did.
I will give. We don't know.
Yeah, I know. But I would love to have, you know, and you can do it on video games, but in real life, that you take, like, the 97 Bulls, 98 Bulls up against
the Warriors,
the best LeBron team that he ever played on, and those two go head-to-head. I would love to see that in a 7-game series. We never will. It was different eras of basketball. But we can sit here and we can say they're both great. And that's it. That's fine.
Also, too,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, also great.
Also,
Magic Johnson,
one of the best.
also great.
Yeah, also one of the best to
Kobe
ever
Bryant,
do it.
also great.
I know. I just don't understand. Like, these people performed at such a high level, but in our minds, there always just has to be one. But now the new argument is LeBron the best Laker to ever do it?
No.
But I also just think that's really hard because it's not team loyalty now. LeBron's jumped so much.
Predators have signed Tommy Novak to a 1-year contract extension worth $800,000. And also Vols and Vandy tonight at Memorial. That will be a good one. You can hear that game on 93.3 Classic Hits. That'll do it for us. More on Tim Kelly being the offensive coordinator. That is coming up next on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.